Kwa-Kongo Beto. And first, I would, of course, like to say welcome. However, I will keep this introduction to Lesson 302 fairly brief because I want to jump right into what we're getting into. Has me fairly excited. And I debated all for about a good 3 seconds whether or not I wanted to do this as a lesson. And it was pretty much a no-brainer because I felt the things that I saw and the things that I picked up had to be shared, and we have to build upon them as a people. And of course, by the title, you can see that we're talking about the movie Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And now I just saw it recently, and I would like to offer my hermeneutics of what I saw in this movie, this great, excellent movie. Now, mind you, when I go to see movies and I see shows on TV and things like that, I'm not looking at the entertainment. I'm looking at what you're telling me. My saying is, yes, I know what it says, but what is it saying? So when I go, even when I see movies in the theaters and movies at home, I'm studying so I can get the message. And this movie has a particularly profound message to my BA-KONGO people. And I have to share these things with you, and we have to build upon them. Now, mind you, I saw it in the theater again, so therefore I am going off of memory. I don't have a white market copy underground. I'll wait till it hits black market in the stores and go ahead and buy a copy officially so I can review it over and over. And in the meantime, I actually probably be going to see it again to see if there are other things that I can pick up that I didn't catch the first time. So what I want to say is, first, this is specifically talking about my people. Not in the way that you may think by the title, but in the way that I put in the title of this lesson. Yes, I want to clear a few things up, my BA-KONGO people. This movie is talking about you. Yes, you are represented as the apes. And the reason is not because you are physically an ape, not because you look like an ape, but because sometimes you act like an animal. Some of the things that we do is more like an animal rather than a person or human. Some of the things we do are so stupid and ignorant that when we are viewed in the world view, we are viewed as subhuman. And this comes directly from the Ma'afa, stemming this attitude, action, and behavior into us. This comes from the social engineering systems that have set up things around us to make us portray ourselves as animals and less than human. This is because of the 3/5 compromise, while we are less than human, and this is why the world views us the way that it views us. So yes, we are portrayed as the apes in the movie because our actions oftentimes define who we are. And sometimes we do act like apes. Now, as the great Marcus Garvey said, don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. He said black people are too emotional. He said whites look at the world through science. You are too emotional. That's why you are where you are and they are where they are. So allow yourself to set the emotions to the side and open up that eye in your mind and understand what I'm trying to say to you here. Now, that's the first thing that I want to clear up. And the second thing I want to clear up is that even though you are portrayed as the ape in the movie, no, I am not, as the educator, sitting here telling you that you are an ape. No, I'm not. I'm actually working on, I have a theory that I have going on here that if you think about it, in my opinion, all apes, whether it be the orangutan, the chimpanzee, the gorilla, whether the monkeys, whether the Neanderthal, the European people, all of these people and beings came from us as degenerate genes of us as the original people. So you see a gorilla, the reason why they look like us, the reason why the European looks similar to us is because they are all from us as maybe some type of genetic polymorphisms and mutations over the years. And hundreds of millions of years ago, they started to stray along their own evolutionary path. But they all came from us. This is my theory. We did not come from apes. We did not come from any type of hominids. These were all from us. That's my theory. And I say that because if you look at it, the wolf, the great gray wolf and whatever you want to call it, the wolf is the father of all dogs. All dogs look different. All dogs come in different sizes, shapes, and forms, but they are all tracing their lineage back to the wolf, the top of the line, of the bloodline. We are the top of the bloodline of our human species and lookalikes. So that's why I say I think all of our human species and lookalikes trace back to the original people of Mu-Kongo, us. So I want to get that out the way first. Even though we are represented as the apes in the movie, I'm not saying that my beautiful black people are apes. With that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, I will do my best to keep it chronological throughout the movie, as I said, by memory here. But go back through it, and as you're looking at it yourself, if you have not seen it, and if you have seen it, go see it again. See what I'm talking about. See if you could pick up the things that I'm saying to you and see if you get the messages I'm trying to portray. Now, I will start with the fact that the lab that these experiments started off with, this lab, to my recollection, was called GenSys, GEN-SYS. Well, if we look at it, that word GenSys is just missing a letter or two, and it means Genesis, the beginning. So the lab where all these things came from, GenSys, is actually a symbolism or symbolic representation of Genesis, the origin. Now, I say that because who was the head of that lab? It was Mu-Kongo, a black man. He was the head and the operator of that lab, which meant the black man was the Genesis. The black man is the Genesis. We know this, the black man and woman, I should say. Now, from that, according to what we know from things that, we teach one another in right knowledge and education, of course, our people taught all other peoples how to function as we do and what we have learned from the Genesis of all people. So we taught the European how to write and how to read and how to walk upright and how to live as civilized beings, people. See, this is represented in the movie as the black man being the head of the GenSys company, and he was above the subordinate Europeans. The lab, the experimentations and the labs and everything, they were run by Europeans. So it meant the original black man, the first one, taught all others how to operate, what they know. But what the European did, they switched it around a little. And they start experimenting on the chimpanzees in the movie and the other apes. Now, if you look at what is going on here, the first one they started with was a mother, a single one. Her name was Bright Eyes. Now, we can take it to another level. And if we're talking about the great Chikoma, we all know that Bright Eyes would be considered the bright eye, the eye of Heru, the eye of Hari. So Bright Eyes, she represents bright eye, or the light of Africa, according to the book by Dr. Naeem Akbar. So the light of Africa represents bright eyes, she. That's why it's called Mother Africa. Now, she died, but before she died, she gave birth to Caesar. Now, Caesar's name, of course, was not Caesar when he was born. Caesar's name was given to him after he got to the white man's home. And I'll get to that in a minute. So therefore, Caesar had his own identity before the white man named him, just as my BA-KONGO people had an identity before the white man had named them, such as in Roots when Toby got beat into his name from Kunta. Keep it in mind. So when he was in the lab, he also had the bright eyes, meaning he was born with this inherent in him. Okay. So the white man took him home, saved him. He took him to the white man's home. Now, the original family had a white wife. However, she couldn't take it anymore. And so the white man ended up getting I couldn't tell if she was an Indian or if she was an Arab, but she looked something of the sort. So what he did, he took him home and started a new relationship with this other woman as he was raising who you now know as Caesar. Now, the fact that Caesar was named by the white man's father represents that you are given your name, the name of a white person. You are given a European name or an Arab name. You are giving a name that was other than what you were. But being that it was given to him from a person that had Alzheimer's represented that you were going to be amnesic of who you were because you were going to follow the name of this white person. You understand? So now Caesar, as they were doing the test, they were showing how Caesar was basically growing, if I'm not mistaken, his brain and development was growing 3 times as fast as those of human beings, human children. By the age of like 8 months, he could do what a 2-year-old could do. At 1, he could do what a 3-4-year-old could do. All of these things. So he was advancing faster than other people. If you look at the great Dr. Amos Wilson, he has a book called The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. And he's talking about how our brain, being that our body is melanated, being that our brain is made of melanin, when our skin feeds, our brain feeds. Our brain develops at multiple times faster than that of other people of this world. Multiples. So that's what Caesar represented as a youth. He represented how he was able to do things that the other children could not do, specifically the white children in the movie. Now, I will go back to Caesar's mother, Bright Eyes. She was doing a test, and she was doing I forgot what you call the test, where she had to take the rings and put them around the bars, and she couldn't put a big bar on a little bar. She had to make sure that she had the right order. She scored a 20 out of 15, more perfect than perfect. You understand? So that means in us, we have the blood of those who accomplish things in this world that nobody else ever could have accomplished. We still have it in us because we're born with it. So as we go along, Caesar lives in an attic. The white man keeps him in an attic. But when they go outside, he keeps him on a leash. We all know what that leash represents. You are on the leash of the white man in this country. You are on the leash of the European law and the European education systems. And as the great Dr. Carter G. Woodson says, the miseducation systems. That's your leash. They hold you. But Caesar in his room upstairs, he could look out of his little window. His window had a star. It was in the shape of a star in a circle. But as he was looking out of his window, he was always excited. What this represents is we are allowed to live in the home or the world of the European people. But we are not allowed to participate in it. We can only watch it from the inside out. We are not allowed to reach certain statuses as the European counterparts and our contemporaries. This is why the Koreans and the Indians and the Jews from that land that you call Israel and the Muslims, this is why they all can come to this country. The Chinese and Japanese, they come to this country and they crush us. They set up shop in our hoods. They set up shop in our areas and they sell us the gas. They sell our women the hair and the nails. They sell us the food. They sell us the Subways and the Chinese #1 restaurants. They do that and they survive off of us because they are in the outside world of the European, but we are locked in the cage in the house, looking out the window, getting excited, thinking that we have hope to reach where they are. So let's continue.